about to take you on a tour of the behind the scenes at the shop of a typical day, how things go. So follow me.
What is up, the change? What is it?
They'll have programs set up so where
Okay, so today, a typical day around the shop at CD's Auto Tire. Everybody's working, everybody's on the grind. Like everybody's on full teamwork, just getting things done. You about to see a nice project that we're doing, a Camaro that we're doing for one of my good customers. That we're doing a lot of stuff on. We did some wheels for them, put in some digital dash, pretty much tune up, did some engine repair, just different things that are needed. And so you're gonna see a lot of that from B on what he got going on. I have Fred in the back hammering on a CV axle, so he's making a lot of noise back here, banging. But like I say, he's the man on suspension work. So also keep in mind, in between time, we have our regular scheduled work going on, but we also have a big event coming up. We're getting ready for the Trunk or Treat race up in Petersburg, up at Virginia Motorsports Park, and we're gonna be taking the junkyard boxes out there. The car hadn't been raced for a few weeks at this point. We gotta get it ready for the weekend. We got a big race coming up, so we gotta check everything over on the car, make a few changes on it. And so in between, with all the work that's going on, that has to be done. So it's gonna be some late nights staying out to work trying to get it done, but hey, we gotta get it done. Okay, for those of you who don't know, my shop is named CB's Auto Tire and Service. We're located at 311 Forest Park Road in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. We specialize in new and used tires, a lot of wheels, and minor repairs and service. Pretty much, we do all different types of minor repairs: brakes, suspension, outside engine repair. Pretty much, we can kind of do it all, but we just try to make it make sense. Try to do the jobs that actually make sense to get them in and out. Pretty much, typical day around the shop. I got all the guys on the grind. Got CJ, my tire tech. He's on tires and wheels today. I have V. He's handling some scheduled maintenance we have in the shop. I have Fred, my alignment guy in the back, doing some suspension work and knocking out some alignments. And Josh is multitasking. He's handling some service, repairs, and just helping getting things done. We have a pretty busy day, but of course, we have something going on for the weekend. We have a race coming up. And so in between all the scheduled work, we have to get ready for the Trunk or Treat race coming up at Virginia Motorsports Park. It's a 24-inch and up big wheel race. We're gonna be teaming up with some of the guys from Virginia up there and Maryland. Kind of see who has the fastest car on 24s of video. So it's a lot of anticipation. We got a lot of work to get done, but we also have to get the junkyard box back going for the weekend for this race. So pretty much, the junkyard box haven't been raced in the last few weeks. There's a few things that need to be checked over. There's a few adjustments that need to be made, some changes, and just a couple of improvements. So we're on the deadline. We gotta get all this done for the weekend, get the car tested, make sure that everything's good to go so we can ready to compete. So, we're gonna take you for a ride. Okay, one of the projects we have in the shop right now belongs to a good friend of mine, Leon. He hit me up. He said, "Yo, bro, he had a Chevy Camaro, it's late '80s, Chevy Camaro Z28. They hit me up, and like always, he want to make sure his vehicle's in tip-top shape. He want everything checked over. He want to make sure everything's up to par. And of course, you want to get it looking good. He wants some upgrades. One thing about my guy, is whenever he hit the road, he want to make sure he have no issues. He want to be able to hit the road, go anywhere with his old school. So pretty much, we sat down, put some ideas together. He kind of told me what he wanted, and on this particular project, we decided to go from 24-inch IROC wheels. With that being said, there's some modification that need to be made. A little bit of suspension modification to clear the 24s, so we have complete turns, and of course, a little bit of trimming. Of course, anybody that knows that when it comes to fitting these wheels on these vehicles, when it comes to trimming, I mean, I'm gonna give you the best cuts possible.
Yes, sir. Both still gotta cut it, but at least our part in here is almost done.
I want to make sure that when I trim your vehicle, you cannot look at it and point out where the cuts have been made. There's something I take pride in. So he trusts me on this one. So pretty much 24-inch wheels. There's some suspension modification, like I stated, some trimming, and this car drives like a dream. I mean, it pretty much drives like it's on stocks. It don't feel like it's on wheels at all, on aftermarket wheels at all. So one of the things we had to do in this project is we had to install aftermarket steering wheel, along with Dakota digital dash and aftermarket shifter. Pretty much on this late 80s Camaro, there's a lot involved with doing this. You pretty much have to not only disassemble the dash and put everything together piece by piece, but you have to rewire everything.
I have to set all these wires here for the horn, because most of the time, aftermarket steering wheel, they don't make the horn work. They just look good, but we got horn.
All the sensors for each gauge have to be wired separately. So we had, thanks to V took his time out, ran all new wiring for this job, for the fuel, for the oil pressure, for the temperature, and like the wires hitting like factory. It came out to be nice, clean job. Pretty much along with that, like I said, my guy wanted to make sure his vehicle was in tip-top shape. So we went through fresh tune-up, checked all the gaskets, any leaks that we saw, valve cover gasket, water pump, make sure the belts and hoses were good, all the fluids. Pretty much just went through everything, just make sure everything was good. So we're pretty impressed with how this one came out. Came out real clean. Thanks to my guy, he gave us time to make sure that we did everything the way we wanted it done. He made sure we had a good quality product. He didn't rush us, he was very patient with us, and gave us time to get some footage of it so we can show you guys a little bit of this project. Once everything's said and done, man, shout out to my guy Fred, my alignment guy. Man, got an alignment rack, and pretty much made sure the alignment was square and straight, so the vehicle was driving straight and knowing where to tie. So that's pretty much it. It came out to be nice. Right here we have Fred. He's back in the lab, banging on a CP hack. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you on camera here where the axle does not want to come out of the strip. Like it's really seasoned in. So he's giving him a little run for the money as far as getting it out. Nothing that my guy can't handle. But of course, it's not won't be an easy task. It's just sliding out. So, but one thing about Fred, he ain't gonna let nothing beat him. He's gonna make sure he's gonna take care of it, knock it out. It wouldn't need to be done. And after you get everything tight, you test drive it, he's gonna do a fresh alignment on it. It's gonna ride straight as an apple. So when it comes to some of our regular scheduled maintenance, we all day, every day, we're getting in oil changes, we're getting in tire rotations, and tire replacements. That's when CJ come into play. CJ, he's gonna check and make sure when we bring a car in for an oil change, we're gonna check the tires, we'll make sure your tires are running properly. We'll let you know if they need to be rotated or whatnot. We'll check your tire pressures. Try to make sure we peek through this to see if we can do a quick inspection on the brakes. We're gonna check the other fluids. We're gonna top off fluids if need be, and fill your washer fluid, of course. However, one of the important things when it comes to tires, my customer really depends on us on letting them know how the tires look. The tire conditions are very important. So if we see anything wrong, as far as in dry riding and irregular wear or anything like that, we try to let you know, keep you on top of that. We try to make sure we keep your tires rotated, right tire pressure to make them last. Because of course, it takes those things to make the tires last. Our main tires that we really push is the Falcon product. The Falcon tire is our main brand. When you pull up, that's what you're gonna see on the building. That's what you see on our uniform. We really stand behind the product. Great product, affordable pricing. Pretty much a lot of our customers love it. I love it. I run on my personal vehicles. My employees run on their personal vehicles. Pretty much, man, we've been a Falcon dealer now for the last 4 years, and it's been great success with pushing the product. So if you need Falcon tires, come see us. We can hook you up.
Let's get to work.
So, like I said, we have a busy day. We got a lot of work scheduled, but on the back end, we have to get the Junkyard Box ready for this event coming up. Junkyard Box, baby. Getting ready for this weekend. We're gonna be in Dinwiddie at Virginia Motorsports Park. It's gonna be 24s and bigger. So we're gonna be racing on the hard tire. We're gonna be locked in with the VA boys, battling for the fastest on 24s. So we're gonna put it to the test this weekend. Man, the truck retreat is coming up within a couple of days, and we gotta get everything checked over. The last time I ran the Junkyard Box was probably a few weeks prior, and practically carbon kind of sitting. And the last time I ran it, we had a little bit of an issue with the carburetor. The carburetor was loading up. It seemed like the needle in the seat was kind of sticking a little bit, causing it to flood, causing some issues, making it cut off, and we can't afford to have that. So we gotta check it out. Gotta get the carburetor broken, torn down, and go through it, replace those parts, readjust it, check timing, and change the plugs and the oil, and make sure everything ready to go. Along with that, we also had noticed there was a little bit of an oil leak coming from the oil pressure fitting, going to the gauge. Originally, when we put the car together, of course, if you go back to Milton Piston's page where we built this car, practically started a 3-day build. We basically used parts that we had on hand. And what we had on hand was a 9-line oil line. I usually don't use a 9-line oil line. I always use copper oil line. However, hence Junkyard Box, it was something that we threw together. I kind of put together with a lot of things that I had on hand. I had a lot of nylon line laying around because I don't ever use it. So that's what I used just to get the car going. Well, once we got the car going, the car went good. It was kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But as the season went on, we did more and more racing. Then I kind of realized that, you know what? I don't really like this line. We need to replace this, and we have a small leak, so we need to fix this. So we're spending the day trying to track down fittings, getting the correct type of line, rerouting it, trying to repair it. Along with that, changing the oil, changing the oil filter, changing the plug, and like I said, having to go back and readjust that car. Along with that, we have some alternating issues as well. Just some minor stuff. At times, I've seen where the voltage want to spike up or kind of discharge a little bit at times. And we had a hard time trying to figure out what was really going on. As I'm idling,
I noticed at times that the power, if it's 12 volts, it then spike up to 14.
I noticed that yesterday. I didn't notice the voltage, but I noticed that you can hear it when it starts charging, and then it stops.
So I'm wondering, and this crazy part about it, it was doing that with the other alternator too. I thought the alternator was bad. This is the second alternator that's doing it. So I'm wondering, we're running off the original wire. So I'm wondering if I'm running off the next wire. I wonder if I got a wire issue. I only got a two.
Yeah, okay.
At the end of the day, it looks like kind of turns out to have an issue with a slipping build. Thought it was some wiring issue, so we were rechecking all of that, trying to see what was going on, checking for connections at the alternator, checking the wiring, making sure that any of the old existing wiring on the car isn't causing the problem. And it just turned out to be because of the way the pulley setup was in the belt routing, that at certain RPMs, the belt would start to drag. And when it did, it would cause a voltage spike where it would discharge a little. So after playing with it a little while, we kind of figured that out and got that fixed. Now it was on to the next thing. Pretty much everything after that, everything was just basically checking everything on. Again, we want to make sure there was no leaks. We made sure everything was tight suspension-wise. Just want to make sure the tires looked good. We want to make sure there was nothing that occurred while racing it prior that we didn't see that could catch us off guard for this upcoming race. Because again, we cannot afford any hiccups.
Next summer, my baby be out on the streets too. Yeah, both better watch out.
Hey, do you happen to have an oil line kit for the, you know how you have the oil gauge and you have the replacement line for the oil pressure gauge? Yeah. So, okay, yeah, if you got a line kit that'll have the ferrules and whatnot in it, I need that. Okay. All right. I appreciate it. As a matter of fact, if you got the copper line kit, I'll take that. If you got the copper. Okay. Yep. All right. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye. Okay. So let me call. Hey, what's up, man? Hey, it's Calvin, CB Dollar Time. Hey, I need to see if you have an oil filter, man. Part number 51060R. You got one? Okay, can you send one to CB's all the time? Okay, cool. I appreciate that, man. Alright, okay. Alright, later. Alright, ordering the oil filter, changing the oil, changing the plug. Going through the carburetor, checking over everything, making sure there's no leaks, retorquing, making sure all the suspension stuff is tight. Pretty much do that, it's gonna be a wrap. We'll be ready.
Alright, so pretty much all day I'm on the phone calling for parts. I'm calling auto parts store after auto parts store, looking for parts. Even calling people that I know that may have some parts laying around that we may need as part of what you gotta do. You gotta get the job done. So that's pretty much how my day went. On the phone, trying to track down parts. So I love to take in like these special projects on older cars or with a hot rods or the case may be. But taking in those projects is normally really hard because you can't predict anything. Anything can go wrong at any minute. And you know, depending on who you're doing the job for, it makes the technician job really hard. So a lot of times, you know, I get people to say, man, I didn't know you do that for business. And typically a lot of the projects like that, we don't normally do on a daily basis for business. I have to look at the job and make sure that the job makes sense. naturally, if you're doing a project, when it comes to hot rod stuff, when you're doing a project, you want to make safety is a big concern. Safety and then quality. So a lot of times when it comes to a project, it's hard to estimate how much a project is going to cost going into that job. A lot of times you can kind of get an idea of what it may cost, but along the way you may realize, hey, look, we need this part, or this part is what we wanted to use, but this is not working well with this. We need to upgrade to this. So sometimes there's going to be a lot of unforeseen challenges that come in the project. And as for the customer, you know, whenever you're doing a project, I mean, of course, everyone has a budget, but sometimes you just can't be too locked down on a budget, especially when you're talking about quality. Because at the end of the day, man, you know, if we're working on a car and we're limited on a tight budget of doing this car, sometimes, you know, you get to a point where you gotta stop and you can't go no further. And you know, what do? You know, you don't want the car to sit. You don't want to just put it out half done. I mean, you just can't do that. So when it comes to these projects, I try to make sure I bring the projects in that make sense, that I can kind of be able to cut and dry, that I can kind of see how I can kind of predict how it's going to go from start to finish. And again, having a customer that understands that. If the customer is the type of customer that don't understand that, I can't do that job. Because at the end of the day, as a technician, don't want to be under pressure. You know, I can work under certain pressures, and my guys can work under certain pressures. But as the owner, I do not want to put my guys in a position where they're under pressure to jeopardize quality or safety for a dollar. It's not something I want to have on their conscience. So at the end of the day, that's why a lot of times it's hard to take those type of projects in. I do it, you know, that's what I love to do that for a hobby, and that's what I do for myself. But at the end of the day, it's just one of the things that every project, it may not be the project for us. And, you know, sometimes we just have to pass it on. So we have a brake job in for one of my good customers that get us to service all of his work vehicles. And pretty much his main concern is, hey, I bought this vehicle and it's giving me a lot of brake noise. At times, the brakes are squealing, just making noise. Well, of course, we take it on a test drive, and man, like 90% of the time, when you take your car to the shop and you want the technician to test drive it never makes a noise. Like, it's like 90% of the time. Happens all the time. It never makes a noise. So, you know, he kind of told us when and what kind of noise it's making to kind of help us figure out what's going on. So pretty much, we just had to do a basic brake inspection just to see what's going on. So we pull the wheels. We see that the front pads have been replaced at some point. The front rotors look original. However, you know, kind of feel like the brake pads have probably been installed with some cheaper brake pads at some point before he bought it, and putting it on the old rotor without resurfacing the rotor. There's probably some glazing on the rotor, and kind of, you know, with the hard pad, you know, put them two together, it kind of is what caused the noise. At certain times you get high pitched squeal. So in this situation, even though the brake pad thickness looked okay, rotors look a little old, see a little heat, some hot spots in it where it might be some potential vibration in the future. There's only one way to really fix that correctly, and you know, you kind of hate to put some fresh pads on some old rollers. And the way to fix it correctly is either put a good ceramic pad on the vehicle and resurface the roller, but because it was the original roller, and with the miles on the vehicle, we wasn't sure, couldn't guarantee that once we resurfaced the rollers, if there'll be enough thickness on the roller itself to handle the heat, the braking from heat from the braking, along with him towing with the vehicle to where it'll last a while without rewarping. So in that case, the best thing to do is recommend a good set of ceramic pads and some quality brake rollers. And pretty much called the customer up, told him what he had going on, and he said, hey, look, I'm gonna fix right, so let's go with it, let's do it. So hey, we did the job, the noise was gone, it's quiet, customer's happy, so hey, another one for the books. So guys, that concludes episode 1 of a day around the shop with CB's Auto Tire. Pretty much just giving you a look at, you know, what we have going on, some of the repairs that we're doing, some of the regular scheduled maintenance, but we're about to get to the heat. We're about to get to, hey, finishing up this junkyard box for the Trunk or Treat race coming up. So that's it for today, but stay tuned for episode number 2, and we're gonna really show you some in-depth footage of the junkyard box. So, you guys, make sure you subscribe, hit like,